It's time to take a therapeutic dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast where we explore the intersection of TV and therapy. I'm Margee McGee with my friend and fellow TV and therapy junkie.
Hi, I'm
Ramona.
Ramona Ramirez. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again. And thank you so much for everyone that joined us last week for our first episode. We are so grateful for the feedback we've been getting and thankful that people are liking it so far. And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I feel like there's never been a time when we're all more need of a therapeutic dose than getting through this Vanderpump Rules Reunion series, because
yes,
holy shit. And it turns out Tom Schwartz just took a casual dose of Xanax on stage at the end of the episode last night.
That was so wild.
It was so upsetting because it was just it was in his fucking pocket. He bit it in half. Like, this is a man who clearly, that's not a first timer, I guess is my point.
It's
a recreational dose rather than a therapeutic dose,
I'm not sure. I mean, there are, I visit the subreddit for Vanderpump Rules and the one for Bravo Real Housewives, and I will share that people that do have addictions to pills or that are in recovery from addictions to pills are often the ones that are commenting that they see behaviors that they recognize in Schwartz. I guess we can tack on and allegedly right there just to safeguard. But,
they were throwing it around on stage last night because, Tom Sandoval was like, James was so drunk, he lost a job. And Lala's like, both of you guys are drunk all the time. Like, let's not take each other's inventory on that front.
It was wild. It was wild.
Another wild one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, my big headlines from the thing was primarily Raquel is dead inside and Lisa Vanderpump needs to shut up forever. She needs to. Yeah.
She really does.
She was trying to do like bits last night. She was doing comedy bits. Like, James announced he's a homeowner. And she goes, don't fuck it up. It's like, what are you fucking doing?
It was
just this, whoever scripted these hilarious lines for you, or even if they're coming out of your own brain, they're totally inappropriate to the moment.
Yeah, it's become really clear to me in the last couple of, last week's reunion, last night, probably like when she makes her appearances on the show. Am I glad she's not on Beverly Hills anymore? I'm just really, she makes me uncomfortable. I feel really uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable when she talks. I feel on guard.
Because she still infantilizes these people, but they're grown adults now. And her trying to direct the show, like when Lala started crying, and Lisa Vanderpump was like, why are you crying? No, this is what I like to see, not just the anger. It's like, you're not an acting coach. Like, kindly shut up and just let the woman speak. Like,
and she has a lot of hypocritical nerve to say that.
Yeah. She doesn't emote ever. I've never seen a woman.
Never. I think when she lost her brother.
Yes. Well, and that's something for a mental health podcast. He committed suicide, trigger warning.
Right.
Like, but yes, that there was a whiff of emotion, but I'm not going to lie. If I experienced that, I would not be dressed or coherent.
No,
so
I would be like, hey, am I allowed a sick day? I got to take advantage of that PTO if I get it. I don't know if they get it, but I don't think I could do it. I don't know what the parameters are as far as if they're allowed to do that or not.
Yeah, weirdly, even though Tom Sandoval is the biggest villain, for me, Lisa Vanderpump is becoming my least favorite part of this reunion.
Yeah,
I literally hate her the most. I wish I could isolate her voice and mute it because I just hate it.
But on a positive note,
what?
A few moments after the reunion started, I was surprised to hear that Lala has been sober for 4.5 years now. I did not think it was that long.
It's amazing. And, you know, Bravo really did a bang up job closing out Mental Health Awareness Month with Lala's sobriety example. And I don't know if you watched the Summer House reunion, but Andy made a full pitch for Al Anon to Lindsay is dating Carl, who is now sober, or he is engaged to Carl, who's now sober. And they're having some struggles navigating that because she still drinks. And Andy said, well, Al Anon is your friend. And I was like, oh, hello. And then Allie
Wow.
last night, I was like, oh, well, there's the mental health advocate for Bravo who said everyone belongs in therapy, especially men, especially
I
James.
love
And I
that.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
be still.
Yeah. When Raquel started talking to Andy, and when Andy and Raquel's one-on-one came up, and she was saying, when Andy was like, it sounds like you're blaming Ariana for not knowing that you guys were having an affair. And she didn't flat out deny it. I would have been like, oh my God, no way. That's not what I'm doing at all. But I don't know if it just didn't stick or if it whoosh or whatever. But I have to admit, I'm not saying it would have been recent. I'm saying that like maybe in my early, maybe to mid 20s, when I didn't have as much self-esteem, when I didn't think that, when I didn't think that my pickings could be anything more than slim in the choice of a romantic partner, I can see going, I wonder if, yeah, poor guy. Oh my God. Like, I wonder if, and I totally believe that he is capable of being someone that would present the situation in his current relationship to the woman he wants to have an affair with. I can completely see him doing it in a way that is just manipulates it
I
to his
mean,
advantage.
I think it's totally sinister. I think he's coached her into a catatonic state because,
Oh
like,
God.
she's somehow convinced herself that she and Ariana, there was a path forward for them coming out of this. It's like, you are not thinking at all. Tom Sandoval is doing all of your thinking for you. And that, I mean, it's inexcusable. She's 28 years old. Like, she understands the difference between right and wrong. So if she took a breath and looked at what was going on, she could make a harder but more moral choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just was so checked out. And when the segment when Scheana was sobbing on stage, I was sobbing on my couch.
Oh my
Cut to
God.
Raquel just like dead behind the eyes, not
Completely.
even welling up with tears, nothing, just like dead face.
I mean, if we are to suspend our disbelief and trust that the producers are editing in the shots of Raquel in real time, like as she is responding, then that is truly, it's very disturbing that she is just coming across as completely devoid of compassion or remorse, or it's like she's a third party watching it without realizing that she is actually she's the
Problem.
pot that's being stirred. She's the ingredient in the pot.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
she
she's
just
even more detached than a casual observer because I'm a casual observer. I don't know any of these fucking people. They don't affect my daily life. But
Yeah.
I was sitting there weeping for Scheana. And this
Yeah.
woman, I mean, it just was so odd. It's so odd.
It was
I'm
really
glad she's
sad.
getting mental health treatment because something
Yeah.
is not right, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, when she said did she say to Andy that this was a wake-up call? This situation was a wake-up call? And I was like,
No, she said
that
it to
isn't
Tom
how
Sandoval. She's like,
she
I
did,
guess
didn't
the
she?
pendulum swung too far the other
Dude.
direction. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not an accidental pendulum swing. Like, what you did was so pointed and deliberate, and it it didn't just happen. It was 7 months of happening, and yeah, it's just so weird how the two of them, Sandoval and Raquel, are really still working hard to somehow make this everyone else's fault or make it forgivable. When again, the shortest path to redemption would just be to say, like, this is a rotten fuck up. And you know, I can't, there will never be words for me to say inappropriate. I'm sorry. So
It was very disturbing. I wrote down that I don't think I would ever have the stomach to be a producer and have someone screaming in my face that they need a break. And
not
for
that
me
bitch.
to not I know. I was thinking like, well, what if it was, so-and-so or so-and-so? I mean,
Scandival, really? You're going to ask them
yeah,
not to shoot you when this whole situation is
exactly.
you're at the center of it, butthead. And he was saying it's very fair. The cameras are up whenever people are talking. So if you don't want to talk and you want to eat your mashed potatoes in silence in a corner, you can have your break. But if you're going to talk, you're on a reality TV show, you ass, for the ninth year. This isn't a
I know.
surprise.
I
And the
know.
whole I'm in a delicate position of your own making,
Of
you
your own making,
fuckwad.
dude.
Yes,
Right.
I'm sorry
Right.
for you. I really am. But like, the rules don't change because you fucked up. Now you
Yeah.
have to live in a world where you fucked up and you have to navigate the rules still. So
Yeah.
you're 40. You don't
Oh
get
my
a
God.
pass.
40, possibly 42, if we're to
You're
believe
right.
James from last week. Yeah. Yeah, you just said exactly that. And everyone, I'm kind of going through like chronologically what, as scenes unfolded. It's like in the back of my head, I'm like, I know there's a reason why I don't like James.
Hmm.
His and my memory was refreshed. He is a rampant, so far unapologetic fat phobist. And I
Yes.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
It just like it brought back all the other memories of like every other time. It's just like it's his first insult. And I realized, okay, yeah, like yelling at Rachel's mom and yelling at Rachel's dad, like, oh, you're just bummed out because you're married to a fat bee. I was like, dude, like
It's
in what?
not great, but in
No,
context, it's all terrible. Again, he did not respond appropriately, but if someone was
no.
asking me about my genitalia at Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah,
I wouldn't call him a
yeah.
fat fuck, but I would excuse myself and never return. Like, and
Right.
I'm with you 100%. And Allie said it too. The word fat, it does, what he intends it to do is it shuts someone down immediately because it's so fucking harsh. And even if you're thin, it cuts you to the fucking core somehow. So he's
Yeah.
found a way to use it as a weapon without really giving thought to how harmful it is.
And unfortunately, the majority of our society thinks of that word as being a put down or an insult.
It is.
I don't think
Oh,
that it is. I
go
I
on.
have been have been looking at my own internalized fat phobia. I am looking at fat phobia as, in our culture and in our society. I make it a point to follow a lot of fat activists and read think pieces put out by fat activists. And I think that if I was to get called fat today, I don't think it would bother me. And there are people that really, they're like, it's fucking fat, dude. Like, it's fat. Bodies are diverse. Who gives a shit? It's because the patriarchy, the white male patriarchy, and capitalism have said that body type is not okay. Well, so what if you don't like it? You know what I mean? But if someone was to call me fat, I'd be like, dude, read a book. Like, you can do better than that. I can give you about 50 other things that would be way more terrible than that. Like, if the worst thing you're going to be telling me is that I have more flesh on my body than you, and that makes me some sort of whatever in your mind, like, it's just wrong. I used to be so scared of it. I don't know. I'm not, it doesn't freak me out anymore.
To
Watch it happen
me,
to me. I don't know.
totally. And I agree with that standpoint. I'm not sure I'm evolved enough yet to practice it, but I want to get there. But to me, it's more the tone of voice. You fat fuck. To me, it's the same
Yeah,
way.
right.
There's something really threatening about it. And it's more the tone, even if it was gibberish, that word adds to it. But the way he never just says like shut up fat ass, it's like I can handle that, but when he says you fat fuck, it's like
Oh
oh
my
my god, you
God.
want to
Yeah.
kill me.
It's low hanging fruit. It's
Yes,
boring.
it's lazy.
It's completely lazy.
He's
It's
smarter than that.
completely
He gave
lazy.
us a worm with a mustache. Stay in that
Yeah.
vein, buddy. It's way more interesting and
It's
effective.
also, oh God, it just, it's the final frontier as we
Feels like
continue.
it.
And it's the one that people do not want to let go of. They really feel compelled and that they have a right to comment on other people's bodies and to judge other people's bodies. No, Uh-uh. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just a big believer in finding the body that you feel best in, which
Yeah.
is why, like, I have no problem with this whole Ozempic Wegovy moment, because I'm like, if people are not feeling great in their bodies and there's a harmless solution that helps their cholesterol and their heart and all these other things, like, why are we stigmatizing that? That sounds fucking great. Like, I can't
Yeah.
wait till it's my turn. I do
Yeah.
not understand this righteous thing of like, well, I would never. It's like, if you're saying that, it's because you're skinny and you don't have a problem where your clothes don't fit, or you can't jog like you used to because your ass flaps too much. Like, if there's the and again, I just think intermittent fasting, which is like so popular and accepted, that's starving too.
It
You're just
is.
starving for a bunch of hours. And like, so why is
Exactly.
intermittent fasting okay? But I'm not allowed to inject myself with something that will cause me to intermittent fast. Like, well,
Right.
I'm so done with everyone denying they're on it. The housewives in particular who are
Right.
suddenly like 8 pounds. They're like, no, I just worked out and eat more leafy greens. Bullshit.
Mm-mm.
But I don't.
Mm-mm.
I would applaud them. If I had the disposable income, I would get on it just for a month or two. Like, why? Like, why wouldn't we all? If the government sent it out like they did COVID tests, every doorstep would have someone in that household that would pick it up and fucking try it, because it
Totally.
seems great. Especially
Agreed.
coming out of pandemic when, I gained like 100 pounds a year sitting on my
As
fucking couch.
as everyone did. As
Right.
everyone did. I mean, well, no, I did the majority of my weight gain I did during Trump's
Mm.
run for 2016. I was a new mom and I was watching a narcissist bloviate racist bullshit on my television and through my, news or whatever, like 24/7. And yeah, I was breastfeeding. I was coming out of a bad, bad C-section that I did not want nor need, in my opinion. And I didn't know where else to go but to go to food at that time. It was like a comfort and a thing to look forward to, an escape. I felt like I had like no fun and no agency over any part of my life at all during that time. Then I went on a diet and then I gained it
Mhm.
all back
Mhm.
and then some.
Which, by the
So
way, is apparently the path with Wegovy and Ozempic. When people go off, they gain weight, like a diet. It's like, why is that bad? But everyone's like, oh, you're keto, you're clogging your arteries and getting thin. Good
I
for
know,
you.
I
But they
know,
won't
I
let
know.
someone take a fucking shot. I don't remember if we mentioned last week. Are you comfortable talking about how we met?
Oh my God,
Okay.
totally. Yeah.
So Ramona and I met in a 12-step program for eating disorders. And so I think that's probably why I have a lot of passion about this. And, I would have to be watched closely if I went on Ozempic, when I go on Ozempic and Wegovy, because my eating disorder prefers like ultra bordering on death thin than like regular body. So I would like to do it with a doctor who would stop me, because I won't see it. I'll look like a skeleton and be like, "There's still some, I can still find a saddlebag." But I'm aware of that after being in that program, and I have 23 years of recovery from anorexia, bulimia, and overeating, and
Which
uh,
is wonderful.
it's incredible, and it didn't come easy. But I feel very differently about diets and food tools than I did back then. Everything back then felt like if I tried it, I was a winner if I lost weight, and I was a loser if I got fat. Now I have an understanding that anything I try will eventually cause me to gain weight back. Like, that's just the cycle of life. So I'm not attached to, any body than the one that mine is meant to be. Like, until I'm Kate Moss, heroin chic 90s body, I will never be satisfied. My body is not designed to ever look like that. And so I am just going to move through the world in, I know the body that feels most comfortable for me. And COVID did not facilitate that body. So,
Oh,
slowly but
Yeah.
surely working it out. I'll tell you, this writer's strike is doing wonders for my waistline. If you walk 6 miles a day, like
Get a lot
suddenly,
of vitamin D, a lot of
and P.S.
steps
that's
in.
unsustainable too.
Right.
That's like exercise bulimia, you know? I
Yeah.
can't walk 6 miles a day for the rest of my life. This is temporary
Mhm.
too. What am I talking about? I'm talking for a
We were
long time.
talking about fat phobia and James.
Yes.
Just like that's just his favorite insult. And then when Allie said, fat, I said, Allie, fat isn't a put down. Like I said it out loud. I'm like, it's not a put down. It's not, yes, to some people, it's going to be a put down. There is a significant community that is absolutely like taking that back. And I'm grateful for them all. If anyone wants a podcast recommendation, Maintenance Phase, hosted by Aubrey Gordon. She also just came out with a book called My Fat Friend or Your Fat Friend. It is wildly eye-opening, and I welcome her presence and I welcome her influence, and I cannot recommend that podcast enough. It breaks down so many diet myths, so many, and no doubt they'll cover Ozempic and Wegovy or semaglutides in the future. I would love to talk more about semaglutides at some point in the near
Yeah.
future.
I mean, my goal, long-term goal for society as a whole would just be to not have body stuff be such a big deal. It would be really nice if I could do everything else in my day before I pinched a love handle or looked at a bra fat moment or whatever. It's too front of mind. And it's exactly why you're saying there's a whole system in place to make that so.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'll take a minute to correct, but it's exactly what you're talking about. Movements like that, people like that, telling their stories, debunking diet myths, like it can only slowly start to turn the boat in a better
Yeah.
direction.
I mean, anytime something outside makes me feel like shit about myself, I got to ask myself, who is the one that put this construct in place to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time we know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, fuck that. Fuck them. That's not those aren't my people. No, you're not going to get my money. You're not going to get my brain space. I am not interested.
I'm just selective about who's going to get my money and brain space. Like during
Yeah.
COVID, I researched plastic surgery for 2.5 years, and I found the doctor who I want to give me a lower face and neck lift. It's Sonia Morgan's doctor from The Real Housewives of New York, Dr. Giacono. I'll have to go to New York and recover in a hotel.
Oh,
But like it's art, the way these plastic surgeons,
completely.
and it's for the purpose of letting people lead fuller lives. Like there's another doctor Dr. Funderdunk, who does body work, and he does a lot of mommy makeovers because these mommies who've had a number of children have a particular type of skin situation that shuts them down from doing things when it's hot outside or getting in the pool with their kid. And that's a fucking bummer. And if there's
Right.
a way to just snip around that and
I
like
know.
then it's my goal is achieved. Then body is secondary in my day. If I can feel relatively confident in what I've got going on so I can like get in the pool with my kid or whatever, that would be lovely, as opposed to being like, oh, my kid's getting in the pool and I don't know if I want to get in a bathing suit.
I know. I
I don't
know.
know.
And yeah, I hope to okay. So I wish that especially women did not leave the house or select clothing to wear or have conversations with themselves throughout the day when they're buying clothes in the dressing room. I wish that like it was just okay. It's always like, God damn, these jeans don't fit. Like my body doesn't fit in these jeans. It's like, well, maybe those jeans are the problem. Maybe it's not your fucking body. Maybe it's the jeans that are the problem. These jeans are one size. Like, yes, maybe they're a size, 30. But that size 30 body or that size 30 body or that size 30 body could be completely a size 30 in all different ways. So while I wish that those conversations and those judgments would leave, I also am a firm believer that people should have autonomy over their body, except for vaccines.
With
It's
the
not
one
just about
exception.
you. That's about
Yeah.
other people too. So, so yeah, if people want to go under the knife, if they want to get injections, like you do what you want to do, you know? I really I wish that it was done though with love as instead
Right.
of with
Instead of hate, I
having an
hate this about my body,
expectation that it's
fix
going to
it.
change something miraculously.
Right.
Because let me tell you, nothing fucking changes. I have been ribby and bony and like been so thin that I get a scab on my fucking collarbone from my bikini top. I have been that thin before. And the shit I have to do to be that thin is like ordering a salad with lemon juice for dressing. Before I got married, I did not have a banana in my smoothie because it had too much sugar. I definitely got hella orthorexic during that time, which is I wouldn't put anything in my body that wasn't quote unquote clean. Like, oh my God, I look back on that and I'm like, poor thing. Like, never, 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 never again. Ever, ever, ever. And I am raising my son to, you know, he's growing and thriving, and I wish there was more green in his body, like kale or whatever, but there's not. And you know what? There has not been a difference. I just do not want him growing up thinking that there's anything wrong with anything that he puts in his mouth, nor do I want him to think that there's anything wrong with his body. He is just a little kid who loves carbs and loves Doritos. And I try to put a balance in front of him. But if he's eating, I'm trusting that he's getting nourished. And I understand that that's probably going to be very hard for a lot of people to understand. And I know that it's definitely with, I project a lot of my own food issues. Well, I don't actually. I'm just aware that they're there, so like I'll think, he should be eating XYZ. And it's like, no, he's good. He pushes his plate away when he's full. He tells me when he's hungry. There are days when he eats all day and days when he does not want to eat at all. There's days when he wants to eat, just like chow down on a big old bowl of broccoli. And there's days when he wants Doritos and a hot dog. And I'm just grateful that I can put food in front of my kid and that he is not hungry when he goes to bed. And
Well, and it
I will,
goes,
yeah, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge what anybody eats. I'm not going to judge what anybody drinks. I'm not going to fuck that shit. There's
I
too
mean,
much.
well, and it's different for everybody. Like my mom
Right.
is 82 years old almost, and she ate circus peanuts and Chardonnay for a good 20-year span, and she's fine. There wasn't a green in her life. Her refrigerator only had mayonnaise and Chardonnay in it. That's it for like 15 years. And she's 82 and in fantastic health. So
Right.
if you asked anyone, they'd be like, well, that lady should be dead. But everybody's body processes everything differently. She has no interest in vegetables. It would ruin her quality of life if, she was forced to eat them. So I don't know. Nobody knows. Again, it's like nobody
I
knows.
know.
Everyone
It's
thinks keto
all,
was it until everyone started having heart attacks.
I know.
It's just I really just feel like all you could do is like when I'll speak for myself. I know when I feel good after eating and when I feel like shit after eating. During the pandemic, a family-sized bag of Hershey Kisses did not make me feel good. So that's
Right.
not a great meal choice for me to revisit. But I'm not going to goop it up and eat bone broth and call that a fucking meal. Are you out of your
I
mind?
I
That's
did
what they
that.
gave me for my colonoscopy prep
I
because
mean,
it's
I did,
fucking gross and
yeah.
it's not food.
Net, Allie, I get where you're coming from. We're working towards a day when calling someone fat is just like, that body has more flesh. That body has less flesh. Like neutrality. Or celebrating it like shit. There's nothing wrong with it. That's my point. Hashtag end rant. Anyway, I did get a little uncomfortable hearing James and Allie talking about taking drinking breaks. And I had to ask myself, why does that make you so uncomfortable, Ramona? And I believe that it is because of my indoctrination. Now, this is me. Again, this is my opinion. That's my opinion. This is my opinion. I think it's just like leftover indoctrination from AA that if you do something like that, you're you're trying to get away with not looking at your problem, your behaviors around alcohol. And I don't know if I believe that anymore. Listen, if it works for them, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Well, and
I've been
that's the
so
thing
brainwashed by
is,
AA doctrine. Maybe it's not a bad thing? Question mark. I don't know.
well, but it's different for everyone. And like I had the same
Yeah.
reaction where I was like, oh, no, you admitted you were an alcoholic and now you're playing with alcohol. But it's like how you were talking last week about how you dipped into slaw and it really helped you. And now you
Oh
don't
yeah.
spend any time there because you got what you needed to redirect you on a better path. And for that particular issue, it didn't require you to return. And, I guess the hallmark of an addiction is when it starts to destroy your life, when you start to self-destruct or harm others. And
Right.
at this moment in time, yeah, I don't know. I'm not James, and it seems to be okay for the two people living under that roof. And so I had to talk to myself too and be like,
Yeah.
that's about them. It's you don't have all
Yeah.
the answers, back to
Exactly.
that
I don't.
therapist refrain of like, your way is not the right way for everyone,
Right.
Margie. And
Right.
I
Right.
have to
Right.
remind myself of that a lot.
I don't know. I don't know if James is happy most of the time. I don't know. I mean, I think that he really is craving a mother figure. It's clear when he and Lisa interact, and it's clear when he has scenes with his mom, which are palpably uncomfortable. I feel like both of his parents are very disappointing. And I don't
Thumbs
know if
down.
you ever
Yeah.
get over having disappointing parents, no matter how old you get. I really think that it's just a kind of a wound that you can accept, but it might cause him to wince or to lash out or to seek a mother figure in Lisa. But yeah, it
Well, and a
was,
father
I
figure kind of in Tom Sandoval. I think that's why
totally,
this so broke his heart because
totally,
he had invested a lot in Sandoval being a mentor and a leader in his life of some sort. And that
right.
got absolutely shattered. Like there is not a shred to be reclaimed there. It's
Mm-mm.
just a total loss.
Yeah,
So yeah, he got fucked. I haven't, at least on the show, I haven't seen any indication that his parents are great, capable, present.
no. And listen, I get it, you guys. I get it. I get that we don't watch these shows like, oh, yay, look at that, functioning family. Listen, okay, that's not true. I would love to see a functioning family. And listen, no family is perfect. With James in particular, I know. I
I
root
mean,
for the guy. I root for the kid.
it's the whole
Stop
point of
calling
the
people fat. Look at your fat phobia. That's
But
all I ask.
it's like, when you have one finger pointing out, there's three pointing back at you, which is the whole point of this podcast. Again, I don't know any of these people. They do not affect my daily life. So if I'm having a huge reaction to something James Kennedy is doing, I need to look at something in myself because I
Yeah,
should be an absolutely neutral observer and just be like,
right.
oh, that's somebody else's life. And somehow I watch these shows and it affects me a lot more than it should. And
Yeah,
so thus we find ourselves here kind of trying to unwind, whatever on screen brings about big feelings on my couch.
totally. I have written down that what was really hard to watch is when James was immediately like defending himself and deflecting his behavior. Ah, God, was it Sandoval that called him out on his drinking?
Hmm.
And he was like, I think someone told James he was drunk all the time. And he said, well, so is Schwartz. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay. What I've learned from therapy and the time that I did, it's called The Work. And it was another self-help modality that was thought of by Byron Katie. She wrote the book called Loving What Is. And you kind of ask yourself when you have these negative thoughts come up, is it true? Is it true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? So I thought about, Byron Katie, when someone is calling me out. Now, if I can take a mental beat, it's like, God, Ramona, you're always late, dude. You're always fucking leaving me hanging. If I go, oh my God, well, you were late like that one time, that's not it. What I've learned in therapy and what I've learned from, doing some Byron Katie work is my job is to kind of like take a step back and go, is that like, am I late? Yeah, I'm late.
I
I'm
mean,
late.
I,
You're
I feel
right.
like
I'm late. And I'm so sorry.
the major offender on that front was Tom Sandoval because
Yeah.
somebody said, you're a narcissist. And he goes, you're a narcissist. And
Yeah,
then they're like, you're a moron. You're a moron. That's your strategy on a reality show. That's your strategy on a reality. It's like, you are 6 years old and you are losing this fight.
so
Real bad.
so unsatisfying.
Yeah,
You
he was a
know,
real yaha nuh kind of exchange over and over again throughout this whole episode.
when I'm not resourced, when I'm tired, when I'm hungry, when I'm having a day where I've been beating myself up in my head, when I feel threatened or scared, or God forbid, I feel like I'm being misunderstood, I can absolutely react like James did and does last night. But it's not what I have been practicing doing, you know? Anyway, that's all I've got to say about James.
Yeah. I mean, truly everyone just became so secondary to Sandoval and Raquel. Like the Lala segment with Randall, I could give a shit. I really don't care. But the moment when the restraining order stuff came up and Andy asked Sandoval, what do you think happened? And there was that like hour-long pause. And I'm such a naive, hopeless romantic that I was like, oh my God, he's gearing up to give it up and tell the truth. He sat there and I thought his eyes were rolling back in his head because he was like, I can't keep this up. I'm just going to lay it all on the table right here, right now. No. Instead, he was like, well, I'm between a rock and a hard place. And it's like, no, if you tell the truth, you're not, because the
Right.
truth is just a thing and it's, not meant to harm anyone. Sometimes it's painful to be on the receiving end of the truth, but that was just what a letdown of a moment for me, But again, more things for me to work on because I have issues with always looking for what could potentially be really good in people,
I know.
like mining for gold instead of looking for someone who is gold, on the outside. So I caught myself in that little cycle again with Sandoval's silence. I suddenly was like, oh my God, it's the moment. He's coming clean, even though I know he's not, because,
Yeah.
he just hasn't. So
He's so
anyways,
gross.
he's gross.
He's so gross. Now I don't know anything about Sheena's relationship. I don't know. I didn't care for what I heard about, Brock's past. I can only go on what they're telling me and how it seems like it is today, and that it seems like things have been worked out with his relationship with his children and his ex-spouse, the mother of his kids, over in Australia. Again, Lisa just could not help herself. She just had to get in that green card jab.
That was
And it was
so
just like,
fucking
lady,
rude.
shut up.
It
Shut
was
up.
so rude. And again, it's like not funny. It's totally inappropriate. Like, yeah, I just really could stand less to none more of Lisa Vanderpump.
She
God.
literally lives in a glass house, Margaret. She
Yeah, so
literally
true.
well, I guess she sold Villa Rosa, but I don't know if her house is glass anymore, but she's so fucked.
She's treating it like, I mean, as we do a podcast about it, I'm like, she's treating it like entertainment. These are people's lives. But for her, these are, she just can't seem to allow them to
It's
advance
mean.
into adulthood. And I think that's why, in some ways, Schwartz and Sandoval, she's not doing it she's not helping them actualize adulthood. She keeps
Yeah.
defending them, infantilizing them,
Ugh,
and it just feels like a vicious
the
cycle.
problematic ones. Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. But I did love when Katie, at one point, as Tom Sandoval started to come at Ariana, and, he was saying, oh, fuck, I can't even remember. He was saying she's really strict, or he used some like weird
Oh my
language
God.
that I was like, we've never seen that. That's totally out of character. And I just remember Katie saying, like, with a laugh, she's like, you're crazy. You're
Yeah.
delusional. And it was
Yeah.
like, at a certain point, it does just have to become a laugh because it's so insane.
Yeah.
You're really going to come for Ariana in a way that's not even
Yeah.
true when you've done
Right.
something that like casts a shadow over
Right.
all the past 9 years of this fucking show, dude.
Listen,
Ugh.
it takes two to tango. They may have both contributed to the downfall of their relationship. It does not
Surely.
excuse fucking your best friend or your partner's best friend. It doesn't in your home feet from your sleeping partner. So yeah, you know what? He needs slaw so fucking bad, and yet I feel like he is not going to go. I just don't know what would bring him there. I don't
I
know
mean,
what would bring him there.
well, it looked like he clearly hasn't, but again, I'm looking for signs of hope. When he was filmed smoking a cigarette and saying to himself, "I'm blowing it," it just indicated to me that he had a fantasy of a script that he would drill into Raquel's dumb head, and he would tell the same story, and he had a fantasy of how that would be received. And it is not happening. And it is so easily shot down and torn apart that there's just nowhere for him to go.
Yeah.
So in that I'm blowing it moment, I was like, oh, maybe, but then he's out on tour singing like in the most, that to me is like almost more offensive than the affair. Him singing Outcast, it's all I could do not to like burn my own house down just in protest. It's so wrong. It's so bad.
He's always been like a humongous poser. Like the entire time he's been on the show, he's been an enormous tryhard, an enormous poser, whatevs. But yeah, this is it's pathological.
It is really quite a case study. Like I truly hope that it's some graduate school somewhere, someone is doing a thesis paper on what is a Sandoval, what composes a human being who can, be capable of working this hard to perpetuate an obvious lie. Oh my God. And when it was really skeeved me out when Schwartz pulled out the bottle of Xanax and everyone's like, what's that? And it was kind of a lighthearted moment where he's like, it's Xanax. And everyone's like, tee hee hee. And Sandoval even then tried to control Schwartz's narrative. He's like, you don't have to tell them what that is. You can just say that's my medication. And it's like, he's fine. Everyone's fine. You don't have to. What are you doing? You're so outraged and involving yourself in the wrong things right now. That was the weirdest moment of just seeing his true instinct is always to wrest control of the people around him and tell them what to do. He could stand my little mantra of, my way isn't the right way for everyone.
Right. And I have no problems with people taking Xanax or
fuck
Ativan.
No, I have lorazepam in piles in my bedroom right now. You think COVID didn't send me straight to that bottle? Come on.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
but it's prescribed and I take it as prescribed for the record. I want to be clear.
Me too.
And the reason I have piles of it is because I don't take much of it. So there's filled prescriptions that I could give a shit about.
Right. If that's your only way of coping with your anxiety, I don't co-sign on that one. If you're using it with other modalities, journal writing, meditation, deep breathing,
therapy.
And I don't even mean like in that moment. I mean like in your macro, like there are some times when I'm like, I cannot deep breathe myself out of this, what I'm going through right now. I think it is a miracle. You know me, I love #better living through chemistry. It is my mantra, but it's like, okay, Schwartz doesn't strike me as the kind of person that's doing things to make himself a better person on the inside. I feel like, and so that's why I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to side eye his Xanax use for right now because I don't think that he's doing anything else along with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's if you're taking prescription meds not in tandem with some other kind of talk therapy, I don't know how that would be effective in the long term. However, I am thinking like in that moment, I would probably be having panic attack symptoms too, because it's just so high stress with this woman about to take the stage. And Schwartz had a pretty major role in that fucking affair that he still hasn't owned up to. So I'm sure his guts were stirring. And, when I went through a broken engagement, I was having panic attacks while I was teaching classes. And so I would on breaks have to like take half an Ativan truly just to not feel like I'm going to like faint and have a heart attack and like I can't breathe and my throat is closing and I can't swallow. It's just, it helps to settle those symptoms so that I could complete my professional responsibilities. So if that's what Schwartz was doing, trying to get through the reunion, which is a professional obligation for him. Okay. But also, again, I never bit my pills in half. I never pulled it out in front of the class of kids and shook it and threw it around the room. So like, it's different. And I was going to therapy like nonstop at that point.
Yeah.
12-step rooms, all the things. So
No, totally. Totally. Speaking of Schwartz, I wrote down he is such a dirty, emotional terrorist. Again, he won't raise his voice, but the words he says, like under his breath, are so diabolically evil. And I wrote down he is a lazy assassin. He is just a lazy assassin. I think he's an emotionally abusive monster.
I think,
Allegedly.
yeah, he's a coward in how he
Yeah.
doesn't express himself. Because
Mm-mm.
you're right. He does say something audibly that's pretty tame. And then under his breath, he'll say what he really probably feels, but he's too cowardly to say it out loud and field whatever feedback it comes with. So yeah, it's just, and again, I just can't believe these men are like 40. It's just so hard to understand. Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder what will come of that friendship dynamic between Schwartz and Sandoval, because it too is based on lies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the lies were in tandem to other people, but it's a poisoned friendship now,
It's a
right?
trash heap of toxic codependency, like extra
Yes.
toxic codependency.
Yeah.
Not even like, off the counter codependency. That shit
Mhm.
is like extra strength, ordered off the fucking dark web codependency. Oh, gross. Like I wrote down Sandoval isn't even worth arguing with because he can't take anything in. Like, I don't even know what I have to say that everyone else isn't already
Right.
seeing. He's just,
Truth.
there's nothing redeeming about him. There's nothing, he needs to go directly to Slaw.
That's
I don't
Sex
know.
and Love Addicts Anonymous,
That is
if
Sex and Love Addicts
people
Anonymous.
are not
And,
familiar.
and it doesn't mean that you're sitting there. Well, it could mean that you are, you can't stop watching pornography all day. That could definitely earn you a seat in those meetings. For me, I went because I kept dating the same person over and over and over again. They looked different, they had different names, but it was like, let's just say it was the same emotionally unavailable person. And I was still too scared to have any voice or needs, lest I be left if I was, if I actually expressed what I needed in a relationship. So I mean, at the age of like, I think like 37 to 38. And I was scared, I was scared. I was like, I don't have time to do this. But I was like, what is going to change, dude? Nothing is going to change. You're going to keep dating the same person. So I went to Slaw and it was like, yeah, for me, I did what they said and it really changed shit. And when I met my husband, I told him my needs and wants within 2 weeks. And, he said, okay, great. And there you go. And I don't believe, obviously, I don't know 110% for sure, but I'm 99.9% sure that without that program, I don't think I would be in this relationship. I just love that program so much. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I dipped a
Yep.
toe in there for a little while and learned a great deal. I
Yeah.
don't think it didn't become like a home base for me because the reason I went into OA, which is the eating disorder program, is because I was destroying my own life. Like it really was falling apart because I was singularly focused on food, hiding eating behaviors, barfing behaviors. Like my whole life revolved around this thing that I hated, which made me not want to really stay in that life anymore. So that level of desperation brought great results in a 12-step program. And SLA for me was kind of like a really necessary education. But I haven't yet, who knows if a bottom is coming for me, but I haven't yet reached the depths of self-destruction that, has led me to like work the steps in that program just yet.
Yeah.
It could be coming
I
for
mean,
me. I don't know.
I just got a lot from there just from like listening to people and just doing what they said. They're like, don't date for, I can't remember how long was like the guideline. And
I think it's a year,
ooh, was it?
maybe 6 months or a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
I mean,
yeah.
that program is for me what it really is like a program about intimacy, about the
Big time.
mistaken, like sex is not a substitute for intimacy. Intimacy means exactly what I am preaching about all the time, but sometimes struggle with in romantic relationships. Intimacy is telling the truth.
It's
You
telling the
know?
truth.
That's
And
it. And it's
I,
really fucking hard when you want someone to like you or you like someone so much and it feels like there's too much to lose if I tell them, you know,
yeah.
the whole truth in the moment, So that's a
I mean,
practice I'm learned from that program.
what I learned is that like coked up euphoria, the feelings that come from the like infatuation period, that is not a relationship and that is not a basis. That will not sustain a real relationship.
And
If
that's a
you go
fucking
past
bummer. Like
right,
that
it
I
is a
had to
bummer.
mourn. I was like,
It's a
"What?
major bummer.
If I don't
Right.
feel like so I'm looking for someone I don't feel electricity with, who I want to like go home with the second I meet them."
I
Ugh,
mean,
that's how
and
boring.
but
It's
you
better,
also
but boring.
or you do and or you do meet that person that makes you have those feelings, but you don't necessarily act out on them right away, or you do and you're like real honest about it. But it's like if I was not being honest with myself and the other person about it, that's when I would get into trouble, you know? And listen,
Totally.
those beginning euphoric infatuated feelings, I mean, without them, would people get together? I have no idea, you know, but that is not what that's not what like it doesn't last. It's not, it can't, it's
No,
a,
it doesn't
yeah,
I
it's a,
mean, it doesn't seem to sustain a healthy long-term
mm-mm,
relationship.
mm-mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm certainly
No,
not one to preach on this topic.
I loved, I
But
loved,
um
I loved that room. It was hard.
yeah.
And, that's the only 12-step literature I kept was my
Hmm,
slaw book. That's it.
interesting.
'Cause it's like, there's this one passage that really, like, rocked my world. It's like, a relationship is not about, you know I'm paraphrasing to the nth degree. A relationship is not about, amazing sex and yada, yada, yada. It's like, I'm exhausted. We're out of diapers. I'm gonna go because I know you're even more exhausted. Like, that is the real stuff. I don't know. Do with that what you will, but for me, I that really, like that really, you know, it made a it imprinted on me. So,
Yeah, and it's like I
yeah.
think it gets a bad rap because it's not just a program for, like, horny porn addicts who, like,
Exactly,
can't
exactly.
not get a hard on when someone says the
Yeah,
word "girl." It's
yeah.
really for people who are struggling in relationships to, like,
Mhm.
keep sex and fantasy right-sized as
Yes,
opposed to letting
yes.
that, like, lead the relationship.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh, God. So many times. Yeah, anyway. It's relevant because we're talking about someone that needs to go,
I mean, not my
in
place
my
to say,
opinion.
but
Raquel and
if he was
Sandoval.
handed the questionnaire, he'd likely,
Oh,
check a
shit.
lot of boxes.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah.
I think we're getting close to the end of our session
We
time.
are. We
Yeah.
are.
Do you wanna check out with, your mental health victories and
Oh,
shortcomings
yeah.
of the week?
It's so funny. Like, I hesitate to say that these are, wins, because like I still have that voice in my head that says, "What are you talking about? These are just lame little things. Like, anyone will be able to do this. Why are you even like celebrating this?" And I have to tell myself, what would you say if you had a friend that was just coming out of like a 2-week hangout with the depression kitty where you couldn't leave the bed? Would you tell them that not showing up for your writing class last night wasn't a big deal? Absolutely not. Would you tell them that, I mean, okay, so here's what I did. Yeah, I showed up for my writing class. I showed up and did chores when I didn't want to because I didn't want it to all fall on my husband. I have been kind to my child and my husband this week. I guess I've been kind to myself. I went to therapy. What else did I do? I don't know.
That's plenty. I mean, honestly, and I have the same instinct to be like, to preface it with like, I did a lot of important things, a lot of
Yeah.
important things work-wise and socially, and that. So
Yes.
that also
Yes.
happened. But because truthfully for me, I, I went to a couple Al-Anon meetings. I'm finding these early morning Zoom meetings a really great way to help start my day in a more centered headspace. And I baked coffee cake muffins, like, because that to me is
Mm.
meditation. I can't sit on a meditation pillow with any success yet because I lose my mind and I get like agitated and sweaty and it seems to defeat the purpose. When I bake something, my mind does calm down and I have something that has a beginning, middle, and end. There's a finished product and that's so satisfying. And so for the
Yeah.
time being, that's been like my meditation is like, for the time being, that's a fucking lie. For my whole life, baking has been a meditation, a place where I find that kind of peace. So
Your
that's what
baked
I did.
goods,
Meetings
your
and
baked goods
meetings and
too.
yeah,
Your baked goods are
delicious.
they're
Oh, these coffee cake
delicious.
muffins came up a little short, but
Well,
I'll make some
I can't stop
adjustments.
thinking about that banana bread you made when you came to visit
Oh
us, and it
yeah,
was
that's so good.
like scrumptious. So yeah, showed up for my commitments this week. Yeah,
That's
anyway.
enough. And like I just so that there's no I don't want anyone to feel like this we're I'm becoming preachy at all. So like I will
Yeah.
acknowledge that I had some moments this week where I did not act from my highest self. Like my sister called with some really sensitive information and I immediately gave her advice. And like that is not unsolicited advice is not helpful. It is controlling and manipulative. And I did it because I don't want her to hurt, but it doesn't matter. It was received poorly, and that is appropriate. And so
Mm.
I have work to do there for sure.
People, what you just witnessed by listening to Margie explain that is called humility. When
Oh.
you see what you did and you own it and you know that it's all about you. And Margie,
Take notes, Tom Sandoval.
yeah, take notes, Schwartz.
Come
James,
on.
take notes.
Lisa,
Just
take
come on.
notes. Everybody.
Seriously. Everybody. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
yeah.
well, this has been a pleasure. And, it is truly therapeutic for me. So thank you for
So therapeutic for me.
this session. It's been great.
Yes.
One more
All
to
right,
go. One more
everyone.
reunion episode to go. We can
One
do
more
it.
reunion episode. We're not
Yeah.
sure if I'm sure they'll throw one more thing at us in the fourth week and for us to chomp on. Maybe not. I'm ready for Scandival to be done. I'm glad
Yeah, but
next
I
week is
do
the
want to
last
hear
week.
from Raquel
I
when
absolutely
this
do.
episode went out on her saying, "Hi, Andy." I was like,
Oh my
"More, more,
God.
more."
God
Okay.
bless,
I'll be
dude.
ready for next week. Yeah.
Really,
It'll be interesting.
I wouldn't trade places. She's young and she's beautiful and she's thin, and I don't give a flying fuck. I still would not trade places with her at all.
No.
I'm just saying, no. I say
Yeah.
that with love.
I mean, I hope this does become what she claimed it would be when she was having that conversation with Sandoval, that it's like a turning point in her life. I really hope that for real.
Yeah, I hope so too.
That would be
I hope so
that would be a
too.
wonderful story to be told. So,
Mhm.
I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I'm like barely
I
optimistic on
know.
that front, but you know, bless them, change me, right? I got to
Ooh,
look at myself.
yes. Wise sage words. I love you, Margie. I'm so
I
glad
love
I
you
got to see
too.
you.
Me too.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to our second episode. We're so appreciative, and we're hoping that you're enjoying yourself as much as we are enjoying ourselves.
And we'll see
And
you for another therapeutic dose next week.
yeah, take good care of yourself. Love yourself this week. Give yourself a break. And
Yeah.
yeah, hang in there. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ramona and Margee are
Obviously.
not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.